switch. Thank you. Perfect, Bravehearts. Let's rock this shin and calf out. So like I said, not a common treatment. You're going to do maybe 10, 20 a year. You would probably be somebody who does a lot more because you revolve around that world. So you're dealing with runners, shin splints, tendonitis, little muscle cramps, tears, all this kind of stuff, fractures. And so that kind of stuff is going to be where you're putting little bits of calcification build up on here, and then it feels tighter while I run. It restricts my ankle mobility. It feels like my knees locking up on me. A lot of this stuff that's inserting here from the compaction can play a role there. So we're going to start with a nice airplane landing effleurage massage. And because the shin is such a sensitive area, I use my knuckles to warm it up. So generally the effleurage massage is good enough because I can get in and put pressure on, but it's hard to kind of just knead out the bone. So getting them accustomed to me like grinding the fibrous tissue that's built up on the tibia and fibula ledge, I'm just going to take both my knuckles, just like so, because it sits directly on top perfectly, place a little bit of pressure, monitor them. I'm going to watch her react as soon as I start moving, and you're going to feel all these little fibers popping over your knuckles as I push along. And I'm just going to strip back and forth, warming that area up. And it's intense, but it's not awful, but it's getting them accustomed to that pressure before I get my elbow in there. Wonderful. And when you're working on body parts like this, because it's elongated, and I like to use myself as the bolster because there's so much more support, they can tolerate more pressure, they feel more comfortable with me there than just working on a bolster, and you'll see it happen all the time. But when I go to work and I'm building that pressure up, I have to put myself on a conveyor because look where I'm sitting, I'm kind of down by the ankle right now. If I was down by the ankle and I was working down by her talus area, that's totally fine for me right in here. But it's a little awkward up here. I'm having to reach over, my low back is now activating. So if you're ever uncomfortable, you're probably in the wrong position. And so I'm just gonna scooch up just a little bit so I'm supporting right under my elbow, because when my body weight falls down and I'm using that motion to do the actual technique and use that pullback to play my windshield wiper, it's my head. It's never coming from my shoulder. I could only do 2 or 3 hours a day if it was just shoulder, and I would have to get this worked on because I'm constantly causing tears. But if I allow my lymph to pump and I allow my upper body to fall and I become one with it, it just flows so much nicer. So just put yourself on that conveyor and shift back and forward as necessary. So I warmed it up with my knuckles. Now we're starting on that tibia ledge. So I push off, feel the calf muscle. Now I'm kind of tucking under the tibia ledge. Place the elbow mid-extension because it's that bone backboard. I want to be able to scoop into the bone backboard. I don't want too much flexion to where I'm bone banging because it won't feel proper. Staying in my breath, and I begin light. I saw a lot of people, every time you'd stop the effleurage massage because you're already midway through the treatment, you throw your elbow on, you go immediately deep. It's like, no, we build that pressure, and you can build fairly quickly, but place on, I'm like a feather. I build. Now I'm starting to feel some grizzle built up. Now I'm going deeper. I'm watching her react, and now this is where I'm going to hang out for the next little bit. And I'm just using my guide hand as a wedge to isolate off that tibia ledge before we come onto the face and before we open up the fibula ledge.